Doctor, doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of Doctor Strange.
Hey freaks, geeks, and pieces of shit, and welcome back to hell. As you can see, we're not in same place as normal, but actually in different place, which is a personal choice on account of me being wanted in the US for massive tax fraud. However, being on the run from the government doesn't stop you from going to the cinema. And so today we're going to be talking about some movie I did see. Now these aren't movies that I particularly was planning on seeing, but seeing as I couldn't go see Men, we were making up for it with some, we got a bit of a theme here today. That being, movie studios don't know what to do with their franchises. It'll be lots of fun, and where is that coming from? Our first movie on the docket for today is Dr. Weird in the Wacky World. Now, some disclaimers. I don't care about the MCU particularly. I did not see WandaVision before seeing this. I basically just decided to go watch it because it was directed by Sam Raimi. And let me say right off the bat, this is far more Raimi than I was expecting. Like, they let him get away with some shit in this that I would not have guessed they would let him get away with. This is certainly one of the goriest MCU movies, and a lot of it's implied. A lot of it's not like super like guts bloody, but there is some shit in it that I could definitely see being a little bit disturbing for younger viewers. That's a good thing. I like when kids have to leave the movie theater in the middle of the movie because they're pissing themselves. This is just a really, with me not caring about the overall connections to the MCU and the ongoing narrative that it's building, I just found this to be a really pretty fun, self-contained little adventure. There's some really fun action sequences in it. A lot of more classic feeling kind of superhero fare in this. It's one of the best looking MCU movies as far as I can remember. Like, I can't remember another MCU movie having some legitimately pretty great shots in it. It's not to say that it's like an amazing looking movie, and it's not Raimi's best work, far from it. But it definitely has a really nice, it just has style to it, and that's not something that you can say for most MCU movies. The soundtrack is not something that I'd normally talk about in an MCU movie, just because I think 90% of MCU movies don't really have a soundtrack that is at all interesting or memorable. Like, name one melody or theme you can remember from the MCU other than just the Avengers theme. You probably can't. I wouldn't call this movie's soundtrack great or anything, but Danny Elfman does put in some work, and we've got some pretty, some actually memorable themes and melodies here that elevates it for me above a lot of other MCU movies. Now, this movie is far from perfect. There's definitely some bad things. Mainly, characters are not that interesting. Our main three characters in this are Doctor Strange, America is her name, I think, and Wanda. And in my opinion, none of them are particularly that interesting. Like I said, I didn't watch WandaVision, so I didn't know going in what Wanda's deal was from that. But I think this movie did a pretty good job of sort of communicating that to someone who hadn't seen WandaVision. I don't know, I thought that all of their arcs were kind of pretty basic. Like, Doctor Strange is learning to get over the fact that he didn't get the girl, America's just learning to be more confident in herself, and Wanda is learning to, I don't know, that killing people is bad. They're not bad. The characters are likable enough, but none of them are really that. I'm not super invested in them. The multiverse concept itself is really not used to its fullest. Like, considering it's called Multiverse of Madness, they only end up going to like 2 or 3 other dimensions, which is like, I don't know, it just feels a little disappointing that we could have gotten a lot more, I think. And it doesn't help that the pacing in this movie is kind of fucked. The movie starts super fucking quick. It's like breakneck. And then as soon as they find themselves as soon as they go to like the other dimension, it just slows to like a crawl. And then it's just slowly moving along until like the last act. And suddenly it speeds up and it's going super fucking fast again. So the pacing is just really kind of not great. It doesn't ruin the movie overall, but it definitely messes with the experience overall. It definitely makes the other dimension feel kind of boring, just because it's so slow when they're in that dimension. And let me talk about the cameos. I know a lot of people are like, that's what they came for. Personally, I don't give a fuck. Like, when fucking John Krasinski shows up as Mr. Fantastic, who gives a shit,
Super Stretch Mr. Fantastic can stretch up to 3 times his size and go to any length to defeat the evil Dr. Doom. Let's go for a spin, dude.
He doesn't do anything. I suppose that it's kind of nice that they do just sort of show up and then immediately die, in rather horrifically, I might add. I do think it's funny that Patrick Stewart got paid to show up in this movie and gave like 3 lines and then die in like a horror movie way. It's just so I don't know. It's far from Raimi's best work, but he manages to make a fun movie that successfully dives into that weirder territory. It fails though to be more than just sort of a fun diversion. I don't think it's as good as it could have been. Not in just have more cameos way or whatever the fuck. Just it could have been a better, more tight kind of story, I think. Next time, Disney, just fucking let Sam Raimi do his thing, Fucking, I don't give a shit about cameos or whatever. Just fucking let Raimi make a Raimi movie. That being said, I think that this is definitely a fun movie. Definitely probably one of the better MCU movies. And yeah, so I would give Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness a 6 out of 10. Next we have the movie I was so excited to talk about, Jurassic Park World. Dominion. I literally saw this movie last night, like 12 hours ago from filming this, and I barely remember anything. Of all the things I was expecting this movie to be going into it, the last one of them was just fucking boring. Nothing happens in this, which is a real shame, because honestly, this is probably the first of these movies since the original Jurassic Park to actually have a premise that makes it feel like it deserves to exist. The idea of dinosaurs being loose and just existing out in the world is really interesting, because it's how does that affect people? How does that affect the ecosystem, the environment? The food chains just suddenly totally fucked up. How does that affect things? It's really interesting, but this movie addresses none of that, and instead it's a weird movie about corporate conspiracies and evil corporations and Elon Musk and stuff. Some of the very few good things. Jeff Goldblum is a lot of fun in this movie, just because he portrays a total fucking weirdo, a total just he sounds like an alien trying to imitate human speech. There's some mediocrely fun action. The chase with the raptors in the city. I don't remember which city it was. That was fun, kind of. It had some okay sequences. And there's some parts that are funny because they're so stupid. The movie's very stupid overall, don't get me wrong. But only rarely does it actually get so stupid that it's funny. Most of the time it's just stupid. Such as moments when characters outrun a velociraptor, characters that are armed with guns, faced with dinosaurs that are about to kill them, try to run away instead of just shooting the dinosaurs. A T-Rex sticks its head through a circle statue thing so that it makes the Jurassic Park logo. There's random dinosaur fights that, granted are fairly entertaining, but happen at just completely inappropriate moments in the narrative. It's just so much shit like that. The girl when she gets kidnapped, doesn't resist at all for some reason. She just lets them take her. She's like, It's just fucking dumb. There's so much stupid shit. The characters are boring, and there's far too much focus on the characters for that to be something that you can just ignore. There's no character arcs for any of the characters, other than, like, I guess, Laura Dern and Sam Neill learning to kind of, like, a will they, won't they sort of thing. The plot doesn't make sense. Just a bunch of different moments that just are just, like, head-scratching. Like, what the fuck? Why? The villain is just totally, like, non-threatening. He's just this weird dork dude who's just, like, for his gimmick, I guess, is that he can't finish a sentence. Like, he just sort of trails off. But it's not even funny. It's just sort of like, what is happening? It's just confusing. There's no sense of finality to this. This is a very similar issue that, like, The Rise of Skywalker had, where this is supposed to be, like, the end of the Jurassic era. This is supposed to be the end to all the Jurassic movies. But there's no sense of, like, this is it. This is the end. This is what everything's been building towards. There's none of that. It's just sort of another Jurassic Park adventure, which is, like, there's nothing about this that makes it feel special, that makes it feel like, wow, this is the end. The Gigasaurus, whatever the fuck it's called, so Colin Trevorrow hilariously stated that the Gigasaurus was quote-unquote like the Joker, which of course makes no sense, but is even funnier after having seen the film, because the Gigasaurus shows up literally like twice in the film and does nothing but act just like a normal dinosaur. There is literally nothing about this dinosaur that would make you go like, that's this special, that's a Joker, that's a special. It just acts like the fucking T-Rex.
From Jurassic World Dominion, it's the Thrash and Devour T-Rex, one of the fiercest dinos ever. Those jaws can devour a dino for a quick meal.
Like, at least the dinosaurs in the past movies were like, this dinosaur's smart, this dinosaur can plan, like, okay, that's kind of cool. This thing is just the T-Rex, but bigger. It's not special at all. I try not to do spoilers that much in these, so I'm going to put a little time code, probably, you can skip to that time code if you don't want to be spoiled, but I have to talk about this. The very ending of the film, they don't solve the fucking problem. The whole, like, conflict is that there's dinosaurs out in the world. What are we going to do? There's dinosaurs out in the world. Apparently, how you fix that is you just fucking leave it and it'll just fix itself. The dinosaurs will just integrate into the ecosystem and now everyone is okay with dinosaurs just being out and about. Like, what the fuck, dude? That's literally the entire premise of the movie and they just never address it. They just sort of go like, we just leave the dinosaurs out there. They'll just integrate in like a year. Like, what the fuck? You didn't even solve the fucking main issue of the plot. You didn't solve the main conflict of your film. What the fuck? I also have to mention that there's a lot of, like, shitty editing in this. Like, just really weird, like, just total ignorance of continuity. Like, there's a shot of, like, a truck that is parked, and then suddenly it cuts to a shot of the truck driving. But, like, it's like a quick cut in, like, the middle of an action scene, so it's not like time has passed. It just feels, like, jarring. And then there's people, like, teleport into scenes all the fucking time. People will just randomly just not be there, and then they'll be there. It's just, like, at the end of the day, the biggest issue is that this is a wasted fucking premise. You have actually a really cool idea here, but they don't know what to do with it. They don't do anything with it. There's, like, some redeeming qualities, like, minorly. There's some moments that are fun. I suppose the actors do, like, a decent job, but there's just nothing here. It is so substanceless. It is so just nothing that I can't possibly, like, recommend this. There's just nothing here. There's just nothing. There's nothing here. Yeah. Jurassic World Dominion gets a 2 out of 10. Our last movie today is Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. Honestly, I'm not going to talk about this one that much, just because a lot of my complaints about Jurassic World sort of apply to this film as well. it just feels like substanceless. It's just a very nothing movie. The good, I'd say the performances are pretty decent. I do feel like all the actors are trying. I think Mads Mikkelsen is certainly an improvement over Johnny Depp. You know, not controversy notwithstanding, I just would say that Mads Mikkelsen is just a much better role, just a much better fit for the role. He's supposed to be like kind of wizard Hitler, and I just think Mads Mikkelsen fits that bill a lot better than weird, crazy hair Johnny Depp.
Hey, as you can see, I like driving, swerving, dipping, and whipping. It's Todd, baby. Love ya. See you soon.
And there's some fun action sequences, especially towards the climax of the film. I think that there's some cool little cool uses of effects and stuff. There's some fun moments. Of course, there's a long list of problems. Mostly, this series has too many fucking characters. We have so many people to focus on. We have Eddie Redmayne, or Newt, his brother, Jacob the Muggle. We have Dumbledore now. We have Grindelwald. We have Ezra Miller. We have the girl that wants to fuck Jacob the Muggle. We sort of have that one lady that got kicked out because she said J.K. Rowling was a shitty person. We have this, like, the black guy who's a good guy, and I don't think he did anything in this movie. We have... Oh, no, we don't... No, she died. There's too much going on. There's too many characters here. And to be fair, they do cut down on the number of characters from the last movie to this one, but there's still too many. It's just too long. It's like 2.5 hours. And it just feels like it just drags. There's no impact to anything. Like, things are happening and I just don't get, like, what is the impact? What is the purpose? There is nothing going on. There are a couple cases of really terrible effects. Some of the creatures, I think in particular, look absolutely terrible. Lastly, the thing that kind of pissed me off is the movie is called The Secrets of Dumbledore. What are the secrets of Dumbledore? Legitimately, the only secrets that are revealed in this movie, I guess technically, is that Dumbledore is gay for Grindelwald, which we already knew, I'm pretty sure. So, like, that's not even a fucking secret. And then there's a reveal involving Dumbledore's brother, which, I mean, I guess technically, but, like, come on. Are you fucking kidding me? I don't give a shit about Dumbledore's brother. I want to know about Dumbledore. He is the guy that I like, that I know, that I want to know more about. Like, what the fuck? It just feels like there's supposed to be some big secret that is going to be revealed, but there's nothing. And I'm really hoping that this is the last one of these movies, because they're so pointless, and I don't think anyone gives a shit anymore. And they're just not even in considering the facts that, you know, Johnny Depp is now, you know, even considering his trial going in his favor, I don't think they're going to recast him at this point. And then, like, Ezra Miller has apparently turned out to be a weird, like, fucking Hannibal Lecter psychopath. Cool. It just feels pointless. Almost more pointless than the Jurassic World movies, because these are prequels. So it's like, I know where this is going to go. This whole series is leading up to this big duel between Dumbledore and Grindelwald. We already know how it ends. We already know Dumbledore fucking wins and Grindelwald gets thrown in jail. Like, I don't give a fuck because I already know where this is going. I really hope that they stop these so we can stop giving J.K. Rowling work, because not even considering the fact that she's a piece of shit, she's also just phoning it in at this point. Like, she isn't doing anything good. This is like the maddest I've ever been making a video. I'm going to give Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore a 3 out of 10. Well, that's about it. These were a shitty batch of movies, kind of. But I have to go now. The US government has found me. I'm probably going to be dead within the next 48 hours. So, as per usual, I'm Teddy. I haven't left my room in the past 24 hours, and I've returned to the magic. Bye. Kind of that elevates it for me above a lot of other MCU movies.
You son of a bitch.